As-Salaamu Alaykum and welcome to Sansafe Qurbani Series, the show that answers some of your questions on Qurbani and gives you more in-depth information on Qurbani. In today's episode, we'll cover Sansafe's Operation Qurbani. My guest today is Sansafe CEO Yasmina Franca and Sansafe Western Cape Regional Manager Shafiq Baransa. As-Salaamu Alaykum, Jazakallah for joining me.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So Shafiq, can you tell us, does Sansafe do Qurbani and a little bit more information on Operation Qurbani?
So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Sansafe, we do Qurbani, alhamdulillah. So we afford the public basically to fulfill the sunnah of Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. And then Sansafe does Qurbani locally and internationally, basically in Africa. So what we do is we facilitate the process at various farms in different regions because, Sansafe is a national organization. We have about 8 regions. And then the Western Cape specifically, we do it at the farm. In other regions, they go to various masajid and they go to under-resourced areas and they facilitate the Qurbani on behalf of the public at these venues. So what you can do is for Qurbani, you can go to the offices and you can do Qurbani at the office, or you can go online and do your donation via the online platforms and fulfill your niyyah form on the website, inshallah.
Shukran Shafiq. And Sister Yasmina, once the Qurbani is completed and the meat and the carcass is there, what does Sansafe do with the actual meat from Operation Qurbani?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Yes, Nazir, we have an obligation to distribute the meat according to the intention of the donor. So at a minimum, we receive 1/3 of the share. In last week's program, we spoke about the distribution in 3 parts. So 1/3 you may utilize for yourself, 1 for your family and loved ones, and 1/3 you can distribute to those who are in need. And often we find that 1/3 the donor leaves with Sansafe, but that's at a minimum. Alhamdulillah, there are many donors who allows us to distribute the entire share, and we are extremely grateful for that because we have other programs, which we can also talk about, where we distribute the meat. But I must also mention here that we ensure that in terms of when it comes to the meat, with regards to the treatment of the meat, whether it is in the preparation of the meat, whether it's in the cutting and the storage of the meat, that we fulfill all our own strict regulations, but also that we comply with all the obligations of Qurbani.
And Shafiq, you touched a little bit on Africa Qurbani and local Qurbani. So could you tell us a bit more information on the countries we do Qurbani in?
Yeah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So as I mentioned before, Sansafe does local Qurbani and also international. So we focus on Africa and specifically in 2 countries, as Malawi and Mozambique. So specifically last year, we done 8,000 shares in Malawi and Mozambique, and that covered about 30,000 families. So for this year, inshallah, for 2021, we're looking to cover the same amount of shares and inshallah to distribute the meat within Malawi and Mozambique.
Alhamdulillah, I'm sure that distribution goes a long way in assisting people. But Sister Yasmina, not just talking about those countries, but distribution in South Africa. You give us a bit more information on the Qurbani distribution and the benefits and what happens.
Yes, Nasir, we as Sansafe have extensive feeding schemes throughout the country, throughout South Africa. Some of them run on a daily basis, some of them twice a week or 3 times a week. And when it's Qurbani time, then we utilize those feeding schemes as a means for distribution. And we find that this is one of the few times that we are able to, serve hearty meat with the meals that we serve with these feeding schemes. And we are very grateful to our donors for this opportunity because meat has become quite an expensive product nowadays, and not all of our meals can contain meat. But during Qurbani time, alhamdulillah, we're able to do that. And so it is facilitated through most of our feeding schemes. And if I just reflect on the past 2 years, we have been able to serve over 80 areas with the Qurbani meat that we receive from the donors. And we are extremely grateful to our donors for choosing to do the Qurbani with Sansafe because then it can augment our feeding schemes, and we keep talking about food security during this difficult time. But I also have to mention with Qurbani, our donors would have noticed that we allocate 15 Rand with every niyyah that is made via Sansafe to our Masjid Waqf Fund. And it's important to note that to our donors that they also benefit from the reward that is received because all those 15 rands are pulled together, and every year we are able to assist a worthy masjid in need with funds to either, do some upgrades or some maintenance to the masjid. And so, inshallah, every year we see where we can also tackle that component of the Qurbani program. So from that perspective, it's not just the meat component that is benefiting the community from Qurbani, but it's also the Masjid Waqf aspect of it as well.
So as we find ourselves in the very important days of Dhul Hijjah, Sister Yasmina, I just wanted to ask if you have a message for the public and our loyal donors.
Yes, Nazir, alhamdulillah, we find ourselves in those beautiful days of Dhul Hijjah. Our hearts are sad because there aren't many South Africans who are performing the Hajj this year, as was last year, but Allah knows best, inshallah. And so at this point in time, I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of Sansafe management, our trustees, to wish everyone a blessed Eid al-Adha. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all our intentions, those who are performing Qurbani. May Allah accept, inshallah, and may He bless us with a day that we, even though not be able to spend closely with our families, but a day that we can share with them, be it digitally or otherwise, and share in the love of this period of time, in the thoughts of sacrifice that has been done in the past. And inshallah, may we soon find ourselves in a time that we can share with families and friends, inshallah. So, Eid Mubarak to everyone.